Hey everyone, this is Shambhavi from Unshackled and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is our first video ever and let me tell you what our channel is going to be all about. We're going to talk about everything related to wellness, emotional and mental, and these topics will be based off of the experiences I have had in my personal life and the experiences I've had through people that I work with. So welcome to the first YouTube video. Today's topic is going to be about feeling stuck. So it's a feeling that every one of us has experienced at one given point or another. And just like everybody else, I have. And I know that it's a feeling that is very frustrating. It makes you feel stuck and desperate and lost. And I'm sure you have tried so many things because I remember I did. And it's something that just doesn't work, and it's just the most frustrating thing ever. And I know this is a feeling that a lot of my peer mates are feeling right now because we are at a juncture in our lives where we are making real huge decisions of our lives, getting married, having children, going forward in career, all big decisions we are making, and it puts a lot of pressure on us. And that's why the feeling of being stuck is also amplified in this phase in our lives. So I'm going to talk about how I was able to get out of my phase of being stuck and desperate. Let's begin the video. So the very first step is taking ownership. And it's taking ownership of your choices. Because see, it doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter if you believe that the choices were not made by you, the choices were forced on you. The reality is, whatever happens out of that, whatever the consequences is, will be faced by you and you alone. It doesn't matter if you tell yourself and people around you that this marriage choice was made by your parents. The relationship that you will have with your spouse, with your children, with your in-laws and everybody else around that, the consequences of that, the good and the bad, will be faced by you and you alone. Your parents are not going to come and face the consequences. So the thing is, however you want to look at it, the reality of it will be yours. So it's much better to actually take the ownership because you can't really escape it. And I know it's a very scary prospect because when you take ownership, it's basically saying that nobody else has control over my life. I would have to do everything for myself and I'll be responsible for everything. But the thing is, if you look at it from a different perspective, which is if you have the ownership of your life, the entire power is in your hand. So it means that you are actually getting it, basically putting yourself in a position of power, and that's the positive out of it. The thing is, it does, like I said in the beginning, it doesn't matter what you think. That's how it's going to work. So you might as well spend time taking ownership, taking the time out, telling yourself that this is my responsibility and doing it. Trust me, when you start walking that path, it's a really freeing and liberating path because it makes taking decision easier for you. So now that you have the ownership, the second step is to basically ignore that negativity in your mind because it's there, right? It's telling you that you can't do this, this is not gonna work, you're gonna fail, you are this, all the negative shit. And it's like a big old bully living in your own head. Sometimes it might not be as loud, sometimes it will be more subtle. But the thing is, you have to stop listening to it. Treat it like a child. If a 6-7-year-old was to come up to you and tell you, oh man, you can't do this, you would not listen to him or her. You would laugh it off. And this is exactly like that. Your mind is trying to basically be comfortable. So whatever habit you have right now, whatever the comfort zone you are in, the lazy habits, whatever it is that you're struggling with right now, it's just used to that. And it doesn't want you to change. And that's why it will come up as obstacles again and again, and instead of getting overwhelmed by it, you have to try and ignore it, and that's all you need to do. So the third step is action, action, and action. This is the third step because in the previous step I talked about how you should be ignoring your mind, the negativities of your mind, and to ignore it, it's not just enough to basically just talk out of it. You can't just sit in your head and ignore it. And the other thing is, this is where a lot of people get stuck, is we get in the trap of making the perfect plan. So let's say that I'm trying to lose weight, which is what I was trying to do. I used to get really pumped up one of the days, and I'd be like, yes, I'll start going to the gym from tomorrow, blah blah blah, this. And more often than not, I was able to do it for say 4 days. And then on the fifth day, my motivation would go down, and then I will tell myself, oh, I can't do this. Or sometimes I just used to kind of, skip it. Something is to happen, and that day wouldn't go perfectly, and then I would get mad at myself, and then I'll tell myself I've broken the habit anyway, I've broken the streak anyway. Let me kind of just, let it be. Let me not go back to the plan. So this is where you have to be very, very strict with yourself. Even if you have fucked up, say once, even if the plan has not worked out, you on the fifth day you have kind of broken the rule. Doesn't matter. Get back to it. Don't beat yourself about it. Don't be judgmental. Don't tell yourself that this is going to be perfect. The discipline is not going to look like, especially if you're trying to change the habit, going from non-discipline to discipline, it's not going to look perfect. It's never going to be like, oh, I'll have 100 days streak of being disciplined. It can work for some people, but it's not necessary that it is what it is going to be for everyone, and that's okay, right? So here you need to tell yourself, even if you have made the wrong things, even if you're not sure if what you're doing is 100% right, keep doing it. Always, always, always spend time doing the action instead of just thinking or planning about it. And that's what you have to do differently this time. There's no planning. There's only action, action, action. You should have a rough agenda and then go. Do it. You'll only learn on the way of doing it actually. In action only you'll learn. So that's what I'm telling you to do. Just do the action, action, action. The next step is accepting yourself. This is important and this is the fourth step, because you can't accept yourself in isolation. You need to start working on it. You need to be in motion, and then you start accepting yourself. The thing is, it's not necessary that this chronology will work for you. You can mix and match and understand that the progress is never linear. You might start from, say, action, but then you might have to go back to this first one where you take ownership. These are the things that work together. They can't work in isolation. And there is no necessary chronology. In fact, for your own progress, it's not necessary that, say you have two goals, one of them will work in this chronology A, B, C, the other one might work in B, C, A chronology, and that's also okay. There is no fixed equation to it, but these are the fundamentals that you will have to follow regardless. So the next step I was going to talk about is accepting yourself. And when I say acceptance, it's radical acceptance. You don't judge. You don't make assumptions about yourself. No. The negative voice in your head, when it goes and tells you that you are this, you're a loser, you're blah, 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 blah. No. If you're feeling angry, let's take for example, you feel angry and you accept that you're feeling angry, and that's okay. The thing is, don't judge yourself by the standards of the society. It's a suicide, an emotional suicide, if I have to put it that way, because everybody of us is inherently different. We are all made up of the same things, but our permutations and combinations is different. So what works for someone would not work for you, and you have to be mindful of that. And for you to be accepted in society, you have to accept yourself first, right? So yeah, that's all you gotta do. You have to sit with yourself, feel whatever you're feeling, accept it with no judgment. It will be difficult initially. Your mind would immediately go to either solutions, or it will start judging. It will start telling you, oh, I'm not supposed to feel jealous here, blah, 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 blah. No. Don't judge your emotions. Emotions are just that, emotions. They are not negative, not positive. We are human beings and we are supposed to feel it. And that's all it is. So if you're feeling something and you're going to the judgmental phase or the labeling phase, whenever you realize that, oh, I've gone here, get yourself back to just kind of feeling the emotion. Take your time with it. Express it in whatever way you want. And I don't say about, for instance, don't take that as going and being angry on someone. No. Just sit with yourself. This is something that you do only for yourself. So if you're feeling angry, you sit with yourself and you just accept that you're angry. And you're angry about this thing. Don't analyze it. Just kind of admit that you're angry right now. And that's about it. This is what you need to do. Accept your emotions, whatever you're feeling, without any judgment. With self acceptance comes consciousness. So when you start accepting that you're feeling a certain way, and make no mistake, it's not going to be like you'll be aware of all the thoughts that goes through your head entire day. In the beginning, it might just be one single, very overwhelming feeling that you observe and accept in the entire week, and that's okay. But remember that it's a practice, so you can't be like randomly one day do it and then not do it. Try to be as conscious as possible, and that's where this consciousness comes in. You're conscious of whatever you're feeling. In the most moments, you try, and with practice, you'll get better at it. And with consciousness, if you're conscious about where this feeling is coming from, for instance, let's go back to anger here, right? If you're feeling angry, you're feeling irritable with people, instead of just kind of focusing on the fact that you're feeling angry and irritable, try to understand where it is coming from. I'll give you an example. So sometimes, actually a lot of times, I like things being done in a certain way. And sometimes people come and they do things in their way. And this is a very obvious example because I think you can also figure out where the actual anger is coming from. So I get really irritated or angry at people for doing things differently, even after me telling them something, right? So instead of just focusing on the fact that they are not doing it the way I want them to do it, I focus on the fact that this is my expectation. I expect people to behave the way I want them to behave. And the reality is they might do it at once or twice, but they are not going to keep up with that standard because it's my standard. It's my problem, it's my responsibility. So me expecting that from someone else is not reasonable. And I still feel the anger, honestly speaking. But the difference right now is that I feel angry and I'm aware that I'm feeling angry and I'm able to let it go because I'm not letting that anger take a lot of importance in my life. I'm like, okay, this is what I feel, it's fine. It's like, yeah, it's like kind of you're having a toddler who's just breaking stuff and you're like, yeah, man, that's okay. This is what it is and you just accept it. So with consciousness and acceptance, it doesn't matter. It won't be like you'll stop feeling emotion because like I said before, emotions are part of us. We'll always feel it. The problem arises today because they overwhelm us, and in our overwhelmed reaction, we end up reacting negatively. Sometimes we end up shouting at people, sometimes fighting, sometimes doing this, that, whatever it is. And that's where the guilt and the sadness and the regret comes from. So kind of to avoid that, the thing that you need to do is basically be aware and conscious. With consciousness and awareness, you'll be able to figure out the real cause of that anger, and then you can decide of basically how to kind of go about it. So if the problem is, like I said, in my instance, it was me being bothered by how people not being the way I want them to. I figured that this is something that I can't really do anything about. This is beyond my control. And knowing that, I was able to let go of the negativity surrounding it. I'm still angry, I still get bothered by it, but it's not spoiling my mood, it's not wasting my time or someone else's. I'm not picking fight with people. In other instances, it could be that you, for instance, if you're angry with your partner because they're going out with their friends and blah 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 blah, if you recognize that the problem is because you are not getting enough attention or time, this is something you can do something about. You communicate that to your partner, you figure out a way around it. So the point of figuring out the source is to basically find a solution to it. Sometimes it would have it, sometimes it won't, but in either instances, you will find your peace. And this emotion that used to feel heavy previously would stop feeling as heavy for you. It will be just like breathing for you from now on. Now I'm at the last step of my video, which is practice. Everything else that we have talked about in this video is useless if you don't practice. And practice, again, like I have mentioned before, the whole thing is not supposed to be linear. It doesn't have to have a chronology. You have to figure out the permutation and combination for yourself, and you have to be flexible enough to change it with days and with situations and with problems. But the core of it all, the key to it all, is basically practice. And that's reflected in life as well. Nothing in life will come to you without practice. You are doing the basics of your human actions like walking, talking, because of practice. You have practiced it perhaps unconsciously, you don't remember the process of it, but it is there because of that. You're able to speak a language, any language, because you have practiced it, right? You are able to feel confident because of practice. You don't feel confidence, and I'm talking about true confidence. I'm not talking about fake it till you make it portion. You'll feel confident in something only if you have practiced. And I'll give you an example. You brush your teeth every day. And the question is not of how you do it. The question is, do you ever doubt yourself if you're brushing your teeth right? It's not a doubt you'll have on an everyday basis, no. You're so confident that you, and that has probably happened to you, that you have brushed your teeth even when you're half asleep. That's the level of confidence you would want in anything that you do, right? And that only comes because of practice. And that's basically it. There's not much to say to that, honestly. The thing is, it is something that you only recognize when you have done it for yourself. And I can say it for myself that the practice, and practice doesn't have to look the same every day, no. Today you might do something more, and tomorrow you might do it less. But practice and consistently practicing is what will take you way ahead in life. That's where most people are lacking, by the way. We want instant gratification, and we kind of want immediate results, and when we don't get it, we tend to give up very easily. And if you're someone who is able to break out of that mold, if you're someone who is able to practice and implement that in every aspect of your life, professional, personal, relationships, you will see the difference it will make. You will end up making quality decisions. You'll end up getting the things that you deserve in life, the things that you want in life, and you have to practice for that. So the steps that we talked about, you practice that in different variations. I've given you very basics. You basically apply that to your life and see how you can mold it according to yourself, and then apply it to your own lives and practice that. Practice that with dedication and practice that every day. So that was it for today, guys. If you like my video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, give the video a thumbs up, and share with people that you want. If you have any suggestions of what I can talk about in my next video, please don't forget to leave a comment below. I'll see you the next time. Bye bye.